Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Neeru Tandon from Department of English, VSSD College, Kanpur. In this paper of English language teaching, one more important aspect is of research. In this present module, we are going to discuss research methodology. We will discuss research, what is research, what are the research methodologies in general, and what are the research methodologies for English language teaching in particular. Now, what is the importance of research? What is the need of research as far as ELT is concerned? We can take it. It is just a language. Let us learn the language along with the language skills, and that's it. But it is an academic field. It is being taught as a course. There is a fit syllabus. There are theories, methods, and approaches for ELT. So naturally, all these things, when it is a systematic study, so research cannot be just avoided. So let us understand first, what do we mean by research? Research is an organized and systematic way of finding answers to questions. This is the simplest definition of research. Now, let us take one by one. This is organized. Organized in the sense that there is a structure, there is a method in going about doing research. All of a sudden, at our free will, we cannot do the research. There is a procedure and we must follow that. So, this is organized. It is a planned procedure. It is not a spontaneous one. It is focused and limited to a specific scope. It is systematic also, because there is a definite set of procedures and steps which, while doing research, the researchers will have to follow. There are certain things in the research process which are always done in order to get the most accurate results. Now, finding answers. Finding answers is the end of all research work. Whether it is the answer to a hypothesis or even a simple question, research is successful when we find those answers. Sometimes the answer is no, but that no is still an answer. The definition given by Mackay while defining research is noteworthy. I quote, "For teachers, a primary reason for doing research is to become more effective teachers. Research contributes to more effective teaching not by offering definitive answers to pedagogical questions, but rather by providing new insights into the teaching and learning process." So here we got the answer why teachers should get themselves engaged in research work. In general, there are certain parameters why to do research. Research should be done maybe to get a degree, because that every teacher requires for his or her profession. To get respectability, of course, once you get the doctorate degree, element of respect is associated with that particular degree, and because being almost the highest degree, you find that element of respectability associated. To face a challenge, of course, I want to know something. That is the thing that I just want to ascertain. So for that, what we are supposed to do? We'll have to just delve deep into the arena of research. To solve a problem. That is the hypothesis. While making hypothesis, we have certain problems in mind, and to find the answers of those problems, we just do this research. To get intellectual joy, pleasure, while we know something at the surface level, and when we do research we just get the every possible answer related with that problem. So that gives us intellectual joy. Yes, I know more about this subject. This is my subject to be taught in the class. Then even then I am someone who knows beyond that also. So that gives you the perfect satisfaction of knowing a particular subject in its totality. To serve society, somewhere certain researchers are socio logical in nature, and then what happens that by doing that research you just serve the society because your research is for the welfare of many. So by increasing his standard of living in case of S&T, and by showing right path to society in case of social and behavioral sciences, the research is required. There are various terms that are used in research, like research technique. What is it? That behavior and instruments when they are used in research operations. For example, like scales, recording technique, content analysis, moving average, and so on and so forth, they are termed as a research technique. Research methods are different from research technique. Research methods, they are like behavior and instruments used in selecting and constructing the technique, that is research method. For example, whether it may be observation, it may be questionnaire, it may be interview, it may be analysis of records, case study, all these are research methods. Which research method I am going to use for a particular problem solving thing. So methods are more general than techniques. Methods and techniques, they are used in performing research operations. Now, collection of data. Whatever we collect as a part of written document, we call it just the collection of data, because our research is based on that particular data, on the basis of which we are going to prove our hypothesis and just prove our research. Then statistical processing and analysis. These are various kind of tests. Then to evaluate the accuracy of the results obtained, that is required. Now questions are very central to research. If there is no question, there is no research, there is no answer. Research is focused on relevant, useful and important questions. Without a question, research has no focus, drive or purpose. Now when we come to the major portion that is known as research methodology, what is it? Methodology is a way to systematically solve the research problem by logically adopting various steps. Methodology helps to understand not only the products of scientific inquiry but the process itself. Research, whether it is in the area of science or commerce or humanities or social studies, it is scientific in its just structure. Aims to describe and analyze methods, throw light on their limitations and resources, clarify their presuppositions and consequences, relating their potentialities to the twilight zone at the frontiers of knowledge. Methodology and methods, they are two different terms. They are different because they are often treated as synonymous. In fact, methodology is broader. It is the outer circle and it envelopes methods within it. It is understanding the socio-organizational context, philosophical assumptions, ethical principles and political issues of the enterprise of researchers who use these methods. So methods can be defined as set of specific techniques for selecting cases, measuring and observing aspects of social life, gathering and refining data, analyzing data and reporting on results. You can see in this figure that the stage 1 is the exploring stage. Second stage is the secondary research analysis. Third one relates with problem statement. At fourth stage, we have research questions. Fifth deals with objectives, and sixth with methodology framework. After reaching all these stages, then our real research starts. Systematic. A research should be systematic. It should reject the use of guessing and intuition, but it does not rule out creative thinking. That is part of the systematic research. Then it should be controlled, like variables are identified and controlled wherever possible. Research should be logical. It should be guided by rules of logical reasoning and logical process of induction and deduction. It should be empirical. It should provide a basis for external validity to results. So validation is the most important portion. Replicable. It should be verified by replicating the study. And finally, self-correcting. The researcher is supposed to self-correct himself during the research process. Now let us discuss various steps of research. The first step that deals with formulating the research problem is the starting point. Although the problem is identified in a broader perspective, it needs to be defined specifically in terms of what is to be researched. It is important to define the problem in a precise manner. A well-defined problem gives the researcher a proper direction for carrying out investigation. It also helps in utilizing the resources provided for the research effectively. So once you formulate the research problem, you understand the meaning and the implications of those problems, then you just go ahead with the extensive literature survey. At this particular juncture, the researcher should accumulate data from wherever he wants to collect it, undertake extensive literature survey, whatever is connected with the problem concerned. Then comes the role of developing the hypothesis. You have a hypothesis in your mind while starting the research work. Now this is the time to develop your hypothesis. What is a hypothesis? Hypothesis is a statement based on some presumptions about the existence of a relationship between two or more variables that can be tested through empirical data. That is very important, that can be tested. A hypothesis normally makes the research question clearer to the researcher. So then, after developing the hypothesis, researcher moves on to prepare the research design, because by that time research data is there, questions are there, hypothesis is already developed, so need is to prepare the research design. So planning the research design, which is a crucial step in the research design process. A research design, first understand what is the research design, what do we mean by that? It is the actual framework of the research that provides specific details regarding the process to be followed in conducting the research. In very simple terms, you can understand that when we make a synopsis kind of thing for our research work, in that synopsis, when we just make the chapter categorization, that this chapter will deal with this kind of work and then other chapter will have a different work. So that way, that designing portion is done at this very point. Then determining sample design. A sample design is a definite plan determined before any data are actually collected for obtaining a sample from a given population. There are various types of sample designs: deliberate sampling, simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, quota sampling, cluster sampling, multi-stage sampling, and sequential sampling. Now, while collecting the data, When you deal with any real life problem, it is often found that data at hand are inadequate, and hence it becomes necessary to collect the data which differs considerably in context of money, cost, time and other resources at the disposal of the researcher. So the data in general sense can be just divided into two types. First is the primary data and the second is the secondary data. Now let me just define what do we understand by primary data or secondary data. Suppose we are dealing with in terms of English literature, then the primary data will be the books written by the writers under research. Suppose I have taken Anita Desai, on whom I am going to do the research work. So the books originally written by Anita Desai will be considered as the primary data. And then books written on Anita Desai's work and on Anita Desai will be the part of the secondary data. In the same way, we will have various questionnaires from people, so that will also be the part of secondary data. So whatever we collect other than the work of the person concerned or novelist or writer, that will be deemed as secondary data. So primary data and secondary data both are very, very important for your research work. Then comes execution of the project. The researcher should see that the project is executed in a systematic manner and within the given time. The steps should be taken to ensure that the survey is under statistical control so that the collected information is in accordance with the predetermined standards of accuracy. Now, generalizations and interpretations. As a matter of fact, the real value of the research lies in its ability to arrive at certain generalizations. It means that whatever research you are doing is not for yourself or for 1 or 2 or 10 persons. That kind of research should have those capabilities, those characteristics, for that can be generalized, that can be applicable on many. If the researcher had no hypothesis to start with, he might seek to explain his findings on the basis of some theory. Now, preparations of the report for presentation of the results. Finally, what happens? After all these steps, the researcher has to prepare the report of whatever is done and whatever he had done during this course of research. Writing of report must be done with great care, because this is the way you are communicating your research process, your whole labor, your whatever you have done, whatever you have in your mind related with that research question. So that will be conveyed only through the written document that you will write in the form of the report, keeping in view the following things. The first is layout. The second, that report should be written in the concise form. It means that are supposed to be to the point. Charts and illustrations should be part of the report, and calculated confidence limits must be mentioned. Now, various people have defined research in their own words, in their own ways. Let us just discuss some of the definitions. Like someone said, research is simply gathering the information you need to answer and help you solve the problem, told by Booth, Colum and Williams. So when we say that it is simply gathering the information, is it the full research or just the part of the research? Because if you simple gathering the research will not lead to answering certain difficult questions. So critics have rejected it and said that gathering of the information may be the part of the research but not the whole research. Then what Marston and Bates, what they said, that the process of going up alleys to see if they are blind. again it is incomplete in itself. Then what Brown and Rogers said, that research is an exploration of experience of one kind or another, sometimes formal and technical but not necessarily so. It is better defining the way research is being done. Then research is what I am doing when I don't know what I am doing. That is said by Werner Magnus Maximilian. I just quote the definition by Morley, that he says, research is the process of arriving at dependable solutions to problems through the planned and systematic collection, analysis and interpretation of data. This is the definition. This definition explains the real nature of research. That research is the process of, it is a process first of all, and in this process, it is a process of arriving at dependable solutions. Solutions of your wish may not be true. So they should be dependable, that you just follow that, but others may also depend on those solutions. And they are the dependable solutions to problems through the planned. How that process has been done is also very, very important. It should be planned, it should be systematic. And collection of data, then the analysis of that particular data, and after that interpretation of data. When all these steps have been taken care of, when your research work carries all these things along with it, then only it can be called a research. If you steal from one author, it is plagiarism. If you steal from many, it is research. So that is again a funny way of explaining that what people do in the research process, what they really just manage the research process. Said if you steal from one, that whatever one has written, you take it and reproduce it, of course you will be charged for the plagiarism. But when you take data from so many, make it your own, it is known as research. So let us concentrate on particularly ELT research. What is ELT research? Research in the field of English language teaching. Research in ELT includes business English, English for academic purposes, different approaches to the learning and teaching of phraseology, lexics and grammar, discourse approaches to academic and second language learning and teaching, cognitive linguistics, the acquisition of metaphor by language learners, and applications of amalgamation of linguistics to language teaching. Let me explain this. Now, when we talk about particularly ELT research, research in general, how it is different from these parameters, that it tells you that what are the areas in which you can delve deeper. You can find certain hypotheses. For example, English for academic purposes. Now, if you want to be a researcher in this particular field, you may take up some branch. Like English for academic purposes, then there are sub-branch as well, like medical or English for legal purposes. Then your research will carry on with those parameters, that how you use English, how far it is important for legal business, and what kind of terminology is being used. There are various things depending upon your research questions. What are the objectives of research? To familiarize the student with the dimensions and methods of research, to orient the student to make an informed choice from the large number of alternative methods and experimental designs available, to enable the student to present a good research proposal, to familiarize the student with the nature of research and scientific writing, to empower the student with the knowledge and skills they need to undertake a research project, to present a conference paper or to write a scientific article. There are various types of research. The first comes as practical research. Practical approach consists of empirical study of the topic under research and chiefly consists of hands-on approach. This involves first-hand research in the form of questionnaires, survey, interviews, observation, and discussion in the group. Then comes theoretical research. It is non-empirical approach to research. This usually involves perusal of mostly published work like researching through archives of public library, courtrooms, published academic journals, etc. Then primary versus secondary research. What is the difference? How can we compare? Primary research is a study based on original data, the primary data. Secondary research, by contrast, is research based on secondary data such as books, articles, information, newspaper obtained from the internet or other sources. In other words, you are using the data collected by other people or written by other people. You collect them and then you just try to find the answers of your research question with the help of this secondary data and then come to certain conclusion by negating some and accepting some. Then we have basic and applied research as well. The purpose of basic research is to acquire knowledge for the sake of knowledge. There is no other motive. But applied research, by contrast, aims to find strategies to overcome real-world problems. It deals mainly with human and societal problems. Examples of such researchers is research that focuses on finding the factors contributing to students' reluctance in participating in a classroom. That is a problem concerned with each and every segment of society. So this is applied. Now we talk about qualitative versus quantitative research. Qualitative research is primarily exploratory research. It is used to gain an understanding of underlying reasons, opinions, and motivation. While quantitative research is used to quantify the problem by way of generating numerical data or data that can be transformed into usable statistics. Now when we talk about research, there are two words off and on they come across: methods and methodology. Is there any difference between research methods and research methodology? And if yes, then where should we use the word method and where the methodology? Research methods are the methods by which the research is conducted into a specific subject or a topic. On the other hand, research methodology explains the methods by which you may proceed with your research. So methods are one, and covering the methods on the outer level, we have the methodology. A very important word used in a different sense is TREE, T-R-E-E, all caps, because TREE stands for Teacher, Researcher, Educator, Evaluator. When a person who is there, the teacher who thinks of doing the research work, he should be TREE. He is teacher, of course, teacher of English language. While teaching, he is doing that particular research, so he is a researcher. He is educating many, educator. And then he evaluates all this process. So he is the evaluator as well. Sometimes I think of myself as a teacher who is also a researcher, and sometimes I think of myself as a researcher who is also a teacher, said by Stewart, and almost applicable on many. I am also an educator and an evaluator. As an educator, I am interested in classroom issues. As an evaluator, I want to know what works well in my class. While doing research, one must start with the research idea. The researcher may discuss research areas with the instructor or the supervisor, whatever the name you call. Then give your instructor some idea of what interests you. Don't expect to just be given a research idea. Most of the time students come to me, they are just novice in that particular field, and they come and tell me, "Ma'am, please let us know what will be my topic." No, That is wrong. Research topic should be selected by the researcher only in consultation with the research guide. Suppose somebody gives you some topic and you take it and start doing research, and later on you find that no, I don't feel interested in this particular segment. This is not of my choice. Then things will be very difficult. So thus at this starting point, the research idea or the topic you may call should be decided by the researcher. A researcher should be encouraged to attend conferences or workshops on that particular area of his interest. You should not move so fast that today you have selected the research topic and tomorrow you just prepare the synopsis and submit it. No, don't do that. First, you study that particular topic. When you will attend some conferences or workshop on those particular topic, then you will come to know the various nuances, various aspects of that topic. And then only you will be able to ascertain whether you are interested in delving deep into that particular topic or not. Then browse journals and periodicals because they contain the latest knowledge and the topics discussed from various points of view. Then discuss the topic with your instructor and your fellow students. Try a series of 7 open-ended questions. For example, the first question may be, I remember once in my classroom I had a very difficult time trying to understand what. So if you have certain questions, then only you can go ahead to find the answers. A question occurs in the mind of the researcher. How much data should be included? Ample data is available. Then what to do? How much I should take? And finally, the answer will lie in the research work. Once you will understand the problem, then you will also understand that how much data is to be taken up, and that entirely rests with the researcher. Then there is another side of it. Researcher says, what if nothing has been written on my topic? It is not enough, however, to simply state that no publication exists for at least 2 reasons. That it is not likely that anyone will believe that nothing has been written on a topic, given that so much has been published on so many subjects. Next, you should list the database you searched and the descriptions you used. So maybe exactly the way you want to put it down, that way it has not been written. But what the research means, that you are supposed to include, to add something new to the available data. So don't expect that whatever you are going to write is already written by someone. So if you have performed a literature search and have much to write about, then you should also add to the knowledge available. There is the relationship of literature review purpose and research questions. RQ, as it is known as, comes from literature review. Literature review is inspired by and must support the research question, not the other way around. And since the purpose statement is often only a paragraph and a single research question is often only one sentence, often researcher ignores the significance of this crucial section. We should be very particular about the research design, because finally the research design is going to lead your way. So like Gay and Eresian said, they have defined research design as a general strategy for conducting a research study, and of course it is. So in other words, a research design is a set of instructions for data collection, analysis and explanation of those data and inclusion of those data into your research work. Now, which one is the appropriate research methods? There are various methodologies, there are various methods available. So writer or the researcher should choose which one. That may be a perplexing question. Many candidates, they view research skills as an extension of the professional profile in terms of their own teaching context. Research draws out general statements from particular observations or manipulated events, and teaching strives to bring about the best achievement possible for individuals in learning or acquiring some given content or skill. So, whenever you are going to choose the research method, it's not according to your choice, it should be according to the subject matter chosen by you. Some very useful tips for starting your research work. Make sure your grammar, punctuation and spelling is perfect. Only just the knowledge of subject matter is not enough. Its presentation in report writing should be accurate. Have someone else read and proofread your paper for you, because we often do not see our own mistakes. Make sure you answer your thesis, stay organized and make sense. Suppose your hypothesis was something else, and while writing your research report you are discussing some other point, then it makes no sense. Never use I or write in the first person, always write in the third person. Never begin a sentence with because, and, however or other linking words. Do not wait for the last minute. Your research will be shoddy and your presentation poor. Use a computer word processor. This will enable you to be neat and to make changes. If you don't have one, start early so you can use the computers available at school or somewhere else. Keep your paper on disk so that you can make changes and store the disk in safe place. You may even want to have a copy of the disk for security. Make sure you organize yourself when writing the paper. Keep your notes together with the bibliographic information you will need. You don't want to forget where you found that particular information. Do not throw anything away until after your paper has been returned. You may need to defend yourself against plagiarism. Putting together a research paper is like a puzzle. You have to fit together all of your research quotes and paraphrases into a well-organized document. So, this module has dealt with one aspect of how English language teachers, they should come forward and understand what the research is. So, as a researcher, my tip for a student is that wholeheartedly you should devote yourself towards that particular cause. You must be inquisitive enough to get the answers of those questions. Don't take it as a burden. Just enjoy the journey. Don't just think of getting the degree or just think about completing the research work for your job or profession. Professional development will automatically follow, but once you will enjoy this journey, then after completing your research work, when you will become a supervisor, a guide, then only you will be in the position to guide your students in the proper way. So keep researching, keep enjoying. Thank you for visiting EPG Pathshala.